welcome back my subscribers to another Sunday Speed Paint. Today is also going to be story time, where I'm going to talk about the past of this illustration. There's going to be a tiny bit of ramblings of my past, so if you guys are interested more in the lore, just skip ahead a couple of minutes, because I'm going to start by talking about technicalities of when I used to draw back in 2017, the tablet software and all that I used to use. I started on a PS Vita, using an application called Colors. All I had back then as a stylus was my hand. Then I moved on to my phone that I had, which was just an Android phone, and I had discovered FireAlpaca and Metabang, and I used both of those on my phone and my laptop. Now back then I had a Dell laptop, it was like a Windows 8, and I had an $80, because it was the one that I could afford, Wacom tablet with stylus that was not a touchscreen. It would just plug into my computer, and I would use that with FireAlpaca, and I would draw illustrations, and very, very roughly I tried to animate, but I didn't get very far with animation until recently. That being said, the illustrations that I made, however, were something that helped me to kind of progress to where I am now. If it wasn't for the fact that I realized that my hand-eye coordination with the tablet that I was using on my laptop wasn't working, I wouldn't have moved towards the iPad that I saved up for. That being said, this is the current software that I have, which is my iPad Pro, which is a 9.7-inch tablet. For the technicalities, it reminds me of drawing on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, but just a little bit smaller. But it does have a much better feel and surface area than what I was used to drawing on my tiny, probably like 3 by 5-inch tablet that attached to the laptop. With the ramblings aside, moving on to the story behind this illustration. And that being said, out of the 65 plus characters that I have created, these guys actually never got a name. Even back then, I hadn't really thought of what I was going to name them. These guys were characters that were part of the history of where my Nokian characters came from, which is the anthropomorphic-like creatures that I had made for Vixie's World. I wanted characters that wouldn't just be human or anthro or neko. I didn't want them to have a specific preset thing, so I made my own, and that's where the Nokians came to be. And I needed a backstory as to why, because there's always going to be the 5 W's that need to go into creating stories and other concepts. So with that being said, the history of where and why the anthropomorphic creatures and humans exist together in the world, so I needed to create a lore and history. So back with the history of the world of Vixies came these guys, and a simple illustration where back then I drew sort of flat but sort of gradient shading of these two characters, which was a red wolf fox creature that I had created, where I gave them a simple green shirt, pants, belts, and scarf. I did give them pocket knives, but that didn't fit well with what I was going for, because I wanted the anthropomorphic creatures to have their natural instinct of the fact that they had their own magic and claws, a natural kind of way, where they didn't need weaponry, and humans would have weaponry, and they were working their way towards creating this sort of technological kind of thing, where they would create weapons and buildings and that. So, not seeing eye to eye, I wanted to create it so that they would have to work together, but that being said, both humans and anthropomorphics had different viewpoints and stubbornnesses. So if you guys want to know more actually about the backstory to this illustration, let me know and I will make a prequel comic. But I had no intentions of actually redrawing this until recently, when I found out about the Draw This Again challenge. And I've done the Draw This Again challenge only once before, but it was a different illustration that was only about a year or two apart. This is the oldest illustration that I had made, and now it is the newest illustration that I have made, and currently up to date with that. I'm probably going to take the lore, but probably not make the comic, unless you guys want to see the prequel comic, which would include these characters, which I will give names and backstory to them, and explain why these two specific characters are fighting each other, and why their differences led to the war that they had. That being said, I wanted to thank you all so much for all of the continued support that you give to this channel, and we're so close to the first milestone. That being said as well, if you guys are interested, when I hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a special video, and I'm going to be working towards giving a special giveaway when I reach about 500 subscribers. I want to give away that said Wacom tablet that I have, on top of some other art supplies. For those of you who are interested in participating when I do reach that, please be sure that you are a part of the Subscribbler Squad to make sure that you will qualify for this. You can also enter and participate through my Instagram, which is where I will make the updated post before I make the updated video announcement. That said, thanks so much for watching, and please let me know in the comments below, did I improve 2017 to 2019? Thanks for watching, and stay possum.